Have you ever felt lost, untethered, searching for something more? Welcome to Angelic Footprints, where the spirit meets the road on a journey to self-healing and rediscovery. I'm Dagmar, your host, psychic medium and seasoned traveler. Each week, we'll explore the world of angels and personal transformation. We're going to dive into compelling histories and captivating mythology. You're going to hear remarkable, real-life angel encounters and discover how you too can connect with the angels guiding your path. Whether it's through practical tips, meditation techniques, or stories that resonate deeply, Angelic Footprints is here to light your way. From mystical journeys to profound self-discovery, let's embark on this transformative journey together. Are you ready to find your angelic guide? Then subscribe to Angelic Footprints today and step into a world where angels walk beside you every step of the way. Angels, spirituality, healing. Let's ignite your transformation. Hello and welcome to the Angelic Footprints podcast. Today is another special episode, and I'd like to take the time today to talk about angels in our lives, real stories of angel experiences, not just in my life, but in people's lives that I know. I personally work very much with the angelic realm, in particular, Archangel Michael. I've had numerous experiences where he has shown his presence around me. Archangel Michael is a very powerful being, and when I've asked for his help, I will get confirmation of his presence, often when someone by the name of Michael gives me assistance. One story that springs to mind is when I was in England. Now, this was before I was living here, and my sister and I went to Harry Potter World, both of us being huge Harry Potter fans. Now, to get into Harry Potter World, you have to pre-purchase tickets online, and the only tickets that we could get were for entry at 12 noon or later, which, to be honest, was considerably later than we wanted to get in. So I said to her, let's book the tickets for 12 noon and we'll manifest that there's a way that we can get in earlier, and I will put my request up to Archangel Michael. On the day, we left super early, as England's motorways can get notoriously blocked up if there is a traffic incident, and we had about a 2-hour drive to get there. As it turned out, we arrived early at about 10:15 a.m. We asked at the ticket desk about getting in early, and we were directed to an usher whose name was Michael, who let us through. Not 5 minutes later, there was an announcement that no other people would be able to get in until their allotted time, and Michael was no longer there admitting people. Coincidence? I actually don't believe in coincidences, so to me, that's a big no, because I've had way too many of these types of experiences for that to be the case. Not only did we have a clear run on the roads, we got in early, we had a fantastic day, and managed to beat rush hour traffic home. My sister-in-law said she couldn't believe it, as that never happens to her. Me, I just said thanks to Archangel Michael for his help. Let me share with you another occasion where my husband and I, Glenn, were preparing for our radio show in Australia. This was quite a few years ago now, so this was on A1R radio, and we had set the concept for the show as being about angels, and we were off down the road to buy a few bits of shopping. Whilst talking about our inspiration for that particular show and whether this would be right for us, a car passed us with the registration of MCHAEL. And yes, it was spelt that way, but do you think this might have been a divine message that we got the right subject? Absolutely. the angels did want to bring this particular show through to our listeners. There was another time when Glenn and I were out to dinner with a close friend of mine, and we were talking about our angelic experiences. Before long, we were on the topic of Archangel Michael, and we both burst out in unison. I've seen him, and he's huge. I have no doubt whatsoever that Archangel Michael and other angels have helped me in my life. You may recall in the very first episode, I told you my story of being saved by an angel when I was a pedestrian hit by a car. Archangel Michael has shown his presence on many occasions, and he is a powerful being that brings help and healing, not only to me, but countless other people. There are too many stories for it all to be a coincidence, not just for myself, but from all these people who have had angelic experiences. I'd like to share with you a lovely story from a friend of mine, Maria, and she was telling me that many years ago she was feeling frustrated and she spoke to Archangel Michael and said, I'm always talking to you, but I never hear anything back. Are you even there? Anyway, she goes on to say, I fell asleep and woke sometime in the early hours to the delicious smell of something baking. The smell became so intense and almost overwhelming. I got out of bed to see if I could find where the smell was coming from. I wondered if my young son at the time had woken up and decided to bake cookies. But no, he was fast asleep. The smell was all around her, and she said she was baffled. Then a thought dropped into her head. It was a part of a line from the movie Michael, as played by John Travolta. It had been years since she'd watched that movie, so how she even remembered the line, she couldn't really say. But the line from the movie said, he smells like... Smells like what? She wasn't sure of the rest of the line. So she dug out a copy of the DVD, which was stashed away in the cupboard, and played the movie on fast forward until she got to the line, he smells like cookies. Now, I'm not saying he actually smells like cookies, but seeing as I couldn't see or hear him, I feel like that this was his way of letting me know he's around. Now, those are her words. She says he chose a way that I could connect with him, and it made her chuckle. And she still laughs whenever she thinks of it, because it turns out our angels have a sense of humor. Another story that I would like to pass on is from Tracy from Geelong in Australia. She tells me that this occurred when she was in the birthing suite at the women's hospital. Whilst she had many midwives over a 23-hour period, she had one very special one who sat through the early hours until her son Nash was born at 7 p.m. The nurse told her that her name was Joy Kingdom and that she had been a midwife for many years. She helped her through the whole childbirth. Tracy didn't even realize that she was an angel until a week later when she went back to thank the midwives and specifically asked for Joy. The midwives at the hospital said, we don't have any midwife here of that name and never have had. Tracy says, I believe that angels do exist and come to our aid when we need that extra love and support. This is another story from another Tracy. This one, she's from Sydney in Australia. Tracy was in a car accident when she was 17 years old and crossed over whilst on the table in the hospital. She remembers waking up in a room in a bed, and as she sat up and looked around her, she saw that there were 6 people in the room with her. There were 2 on either side of the bed, 2 at the end of the bed with their backs to her, and she looked at everyone and just felt pure love and being calm and happy. She was told, it's all right. It's not your time. You still have things to do. Lie down and go to sleep. She woke up in hospital 3 weeks later after being in a coma, hooked up to machines that were keeping her alive, and she had a neck brace on. Her mother told her that she had died on the table. She has amnesia about the accident, but knows that there was no pain when she woke up. Her injuries were severe, and she has had pain for many subsequent years. She knows that she was meant to live on, to be a carer for the aged and disabled, and she has 4 children and a husband that she cherishes dearly. You know, I want to end this podcast with an experience from a few years ago. You may recall me mentioning that I completed a thesis paper some time ago on the topic of angels and archangels. I was doing this back in 2016, and had to put it on hold for a while as my husband and I were devoting our time and energy to moving to California. It was in September 2018 that I received a message during a meditation that I needed to finish this thesis paper. I looked up my original notes, and sure enough, I had already completed almost 5,000 words of the paper. On the following day, I was speaking to a networking colleague, and she asked me if I was doing anything on the following Monday, as she had free tickets to the Angels game at Angels Stadium in Anaheim. Was there a confirmation message there for me? Absolutely. Angels had made themselves heard. They wanted this thesis paper to be completed, even if they didn't end up winning the game on Monday night. What I find most amazing is how angels make themselves heard in so many ways. As you have heard from this episode and from others, whether it's from me or my guests of the show, when we open ourselves up to their existence and we start to listen, and I mean really listen, and pay attention, the evidence for angels being in our lives is everywhere. I say that leaving you with the thought that only this morning I found a feather on the carpet in our living room. And no, it wasn't the down feather from my pillow. Your angels want to be a part of your life in a deeper, more meaningful way. And when we can experience their presence, our lives take on a magical quality. All you have to do is open your heart and open your mind. In the meantime, if you found this episode valuable, please share information about the show with 3 people who you believe would find it beneficial. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you're listening. Until the next episode, blessings, and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.